Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. We are live. It's been a couple of weeks, but we are back and better than ever. As always, I have to check just to make sure that we are live all of the places that I've promised to be live. And so I am checking Facebook, since Facebook likes to be a little comical and have us go live privately to where I'm the only person that can see it. So I am fixing that. I see that we are live on Instagram. And then I am also going to check LinkedIn to make sure that LinkedIn is our friend today. So let's see. Are we live there? Oh, wrong event. I got a whole lot of events today, or this week actually. So I have this today. All right, so we are live on LinkedIn. The only other place and we are now live on Facebook. So that is amazing. Let me update the audience so that Facebook can see us. And then we are golden. I wish Facebook made it to where it could be public right away so I wouldn't have to go through these steps. All right. So my name is Tanisha Stallnaker. I am the CEO of SVS. We are your go-to for systems automation, SEO, web design, strategy, and more. And I am joined today by my new bestie, Niquelle, and I have to give my usual disclaimers before she shares all of her amazing things. So we know that this is a live series. We are live on YouTube. If you're not following us on YouTube, please subscribe there. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But I also am home. So we have the dog, we have the husband, we have the child. Any of those things can pop up on camera at any moment. Maybe not the kid, but the other two, we'll see. So if life, we're just going to go with the flow and we will edit it out later and it's just fine. So that being said, I'm so excited because, we connected a few weeks ago? A few weeks ago. And, you have those types of people that you meet and you immediately just click. This has been an immediate click. And so I was so excited that we're both able to get on the calendar together at the same day and same time. And then, of course, Niquelle picked a topic that is definitely one of my kryptonites in life with time management. So I can't wait to hear more about that. But tell us about you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, just because it's only been a few weeks and I usually have everybody call me Q. Yes, I love Scrabble because Niquelle gets botched. Nichelle, Nicolette, Nyquil, just call me Q.
Not NyQuil.
I've heard it all. But it's okay. At least they're calling me something. A for effort. Not as many points in Scrabble, but it's still good.
Fair enough.
So a little bit about me.
Yes.
So I am, some would say, an entrepreneur and a fan of purpose in life. A lot of the projects that I attract are either ones that I am creating legacy windows for the future, for our children, for adults, for all humans. And there are also projects that I really am helping solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, authors to define their own brand and swim in it. So a little bit about what I do.
I love it. I love it. So I'm curious. Well, first off, let me just share with the people that you are in a beautiful area. Today. You are in a beautiful corner of the world. Okay. Surrounded by beautiful beach and water and things like that. And so I am also a little jealous whenever we speak. And in case somebody's wondering, it looks like I'm being fanned. I am fanning myself. So
been there, done that, have dealt with that, moved past it, thankfully.
Yeah. So, all right, time management strategies for busy entrepreneurs. As a professional time management killer myself, where I managed to get a 36-hour day in 12 to 14 hours every day.
And I've seen you do it, and I just kept my mouth open with this huge guffaw, like how she's clearly an android.
It's got to be something. So I'm curious, why this topic for you?
I have been fortunate that I've met some amazing boss leaders like yourself, and it's almost like now they're coming faster, right? And I'm realizing some common denominators, and that is the amazing ability to cram a bunch of things, all priority, in this much time, and no eggs break. So while I've Well, I've identified, and a lot of people come to me for similar input, but I think I want to have the conversation about how we prioritize the things that must be done
Yeah.
versus those things that we wish we could do on a more higher frequency. And knowing that every day changes, you might have the greatest plan and then it never works out that way. So that's,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it to a boss with a boss.
Thank you. I'll take the boss. I'll take that.
Maybe.
So, when you're thinking of, I guess, and you might not have a formal definition, I guess, what do you think of when you think of time management? If you had to kind of define it, how would you?
So it's a beautiful question because it's changed probably in the last few years than it was 10, 15 years ago. For me, time management, I must include my private time where I reflect, I pray, I'm focused on my energy and where I believe it should be best spent. So
Okay.
that's something that now I'm realizing is not an option. Secondly, um, if I don't get some kind of movement, and I've maximized what that also looks like, and I've studied research and leaders. If you're not working out, you've got to find a way because those endorphins need to be fired. Those synapses need help, and that especially at the age of where we are. So fitting that in is also important, but finding quality time to be with people that pour into your themes,
Yeah.
not just anybody. I would rather be alone and work on a separate project than spend time with a person or people that aren't filling the cup, right? And until the cup runneth over, because guess what, we're pouring back in. And then after that, it used to be work came first. All of those things, if they're not touched in some way, that definition will not allow me to be the leader that I know I need to be for the teams that I support. And that's when they get the best out of me.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's funny. You think if you work in corporate or any of those things, it's always like that work-life balance phrase gets thrown out. And I was like, yeah, it's never balanced. It's more like juggling. And so I try when I'm thinking of time management not to let that phrase creep in because I think now we've put so much pressure on work-life balance that if one is overriding the other, there's like a feeling of guilt
Yeah.
somewhere that people either put on us or that we put on ourselves. Like if I'm not working enough because now I'm so focused on my family, or if all I do is work where I'm not, thinking about the other side of things. And I think it's a constant, ebb and flow. But your point about being around people that pour into you, I think is extremely important because you could spend 1 hour a day with someone or a group that drains you versus 15 active hours with people that energize you. And even though you gave away 15 hours of your day, you still walk away feeling just like so excited versus that one person that might wipe you out for an additional day. And so for me, I think the bigger part of that is literally just the balance of like energy.
But so this is where we first met, and I'm like, oh my God, she's the unicorn. When you literally had to go do the workout thing with figuring out dinner, and then there are the kids with the husband and the jobs, and I'm like, and the dog. I'm like, okay, she's got some extras, and I don't think I could squeeze so many. I'm like, I marvel at how you beautifully just kind of meandered through it all. And if I recall, the word that of the day that you brought in with like might was the word no. You said, Niquelle, I know when to say no.
Absolutely. I just said it today. I said it a couple of days ago. And it's funny because the 13-year-old was just talking to me. I told you she swims. And so I'm on the board of both of her swim teams. And so I'm the president of one of the boards, but then recently somebody asked me or brought up my name to be the president of the other board. And I was like, oh no.
No bueno.
And they were like, I think you'd be a good choice. And I appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
And still no. But even she said, she was like, well, they make very fair points. You are typically like, you don't get super emotional. You do have a good, you're very organized. You're a good leader. She's like, so they're not wrong. I was like, I never said they were wrong, but it's still no, because I used to, and I still take on a lot. I'll be the first to say that, but I used to take on even more.
That's hard to believe. So really you are an android and we're never
because it was one of those things where I felt like, because I'm a fixer and I enjoy the fix of things, that it was like, well, I need to fix this. And because I know how, it's like, because I can, I should. And now I'm like, just because I can doesn't mean that I should.
So let me ask you this, because this is where heartstrings for me, because when I get asks and everyone, oh, just this little, it won't take long. Oh, how many times have we heard that? Do you emphatically no, but, and give options that still allow them to solve the problem on their own? Do you give them a taste of what could be and get in line and say, I'll have more flexibility sometime out? What do you do when it's a yeah, no?
I think it depends on the who and the what. In the case of the swim stuff, it was simply no. And it was like, before you guys even open this conversation, don't second anything, don't vote anything, take it all back before you even get started. Absolutely not. And there was no alternative. There was no later. There was, I don't got to get somebody else to do it. But then there's times where with friends, it might be it could still be a solid no, but sometimes it's a not me, but how about that person? Because they also can do this. And it might be something they actually enjoy even more. Or in some cases, I've told like clients where it's like, not me, but this. Recently, I talked to somebody I was introduced to on Friday, and she is a potential client, and we clicked, and she needs all these different parts of things. And so she was asking, basically what she was trying to figure out is if I'm just strategy or am I an implementer as well? And I was like, I can do both. Mm-hmm. Admittedly, the way my business is set up, I focus more on the strategy because I have a team that does the implementation and they like that part. It doesn't mean that I can't do it, and it doesn't mean that I won't. But then she was mentioning some things like doing more administrative things, like, getting on the phone and making calls and stuff like that. And I was like, I can do that. But quite frankly, for your budget, it doesn't make sense to pay me to do that because my rate doesn't change because of it. I'm still going to charge you as if I was doing all the other things. So I think for the focus of your budget and being a steward of your budget, and we haven't even had a contract yet, I can tell you there's certain elements that don't make sense for me to do financially, where I could get you 3 people that could do that and it still won't cost what it's going to cost to hire me. And so she was like, I can respect that. I can respect that push. So then it was like, still no, but it just doesn't there's certain times where I think people get a certain comfort where it's like the trust is there and they need something taken care of, but they're not thinking through the whole thing. And it's like, why are you going to pay somebody over $100 an hour to pick up the phone and make a phone call for you, as opposed to the 20, 25, $30 an hour person or less?
You hit another valuable point. And that is, and it's almost the parable, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, which isn't a parable, but still, it's more of an Aesop's fable. And there are some things that I realize it may be more time consuming, but in the long haul, it makes more sense if you allow people to grow, if they choose and respect growth. That's the other thing, by the way. I don't collaborate with teams or individuals that are not or do not embrace a growth mindset. So if you feel like the sky is falling, woe is me, clutch the pearls, what am I going to do? Life is over. And you're not looking at it and inverting the problem. And trust, been there, living example. but not all problems are really problems. They may be opportunities or a door opening to something much more expansive. And so again, when I start to unbundle all the projects, all the things, it's important to know the who, the what, and the why, because I'm not going to just spend, like, again, when we met the first time, it was an immediate kismet. Oh my God, I want you right here. You're my new nubby. because you know, you're charismatic. Your ability to say no with grace was absolutely delightful. And I felt my own leadership strength kind of grow. I felt my feathers, the plumage kind of come up, like, oh my good, she's like, okay, we can do this. Because I do believe iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
And that's why I really wanted to do this as well, because I am now realizing we've reached a critical mass where everything should be tied to action. I'm tired of clients, friends, people that just want to talk to say they talk, to talk about what they talked about. And it's this endless loop of where are we going, right?
Yeah.
Where are we? Why are we? What are we going to do about it? And to your earlier point, it's that strategy of, okay, people, I'm starting to see the tea leaves are saying a little something, but let's do a little pivot. So we're still growing.
Yeah.
And I think that there's life in that, and I think there's space for a new chapter where we need to really locate other unicorns. And I hope that this message is going out to other unicorns. That there are, I think, a lot of amazing people out there that literally wake up with an idea, and knowing that we've talked a lot about strategy. So much of that is also the ideation process, right? Yeah. So how many people do you attract that have this idea? and you're like, oh, here we go. Strangers, I want to talk. And to participate and potentially attract juggernauts that have been given gifts, that want to do something with it and believe in action, and do their homework and do the research to build the baby into something more than an idea, is also something that resonated with me when I started to think about this whole time conversation, right? And priorities. Because with what you do, and frankly, what I have naturally found myself doing, there's an endless supply of people that want to get in your ear.
Yes.
And not everybody needs to get in your ear.
Absolutely. That's very true. Yeah.
So here's a question I'm going to throw back over under the same auspices of the conversation. How do you discern those that you do, like you could have said, Niquelle, great meeting you, blah, 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 bye. But we instantly were like, oh, I'm keeping you. Okay, I'm keeping you. Like, how do you discern the people that you come into cross paths with and say, I choose you, versus I'm gonna leave you over there where I found you?
So I've said this, I know I've said this on these lives before, and I've said it to people, and I think I say it almost each week. I genuinely am a hell yes or hell no person. And so when somebody is in my space and they ask me a question, one of those two things is going to be in my head. It's the difference of what comes out that makes that decide how I deliver it. But if and when I ever get a I don't know, I've now just decided that it's basically a hell no still, because even then, if I'm not sure of something, I just go ahead and just put it in the hell no bucket. I might revisit it later, but for now it's a no. If I'm not sold or 100% in it, I'm just not going to do it, because I've spent part of business where that was in the back of my head, where it was like a girl, you already know this person is plucking out your nerves. But then it's like my wallet said, but girl, you also know you need to bring in some money, so go ahead and take them. And then
they came back to bite you
hard.
I've been there. There
was like, none of these invoices were worth this pain in my ass. Absolutely. It was not worth it.
There. You have t-shirts and mugs to say been there.
Yes. And so I think a large part of that discernment is one experience of I've felt like this before and I ignored it. And each time that eventual pain outweighed all of it. So now I really do lean into the either excitement or immediate, ugh, why am I even on this call? And so, like I said, with you, it literally, I look for those connections where the second the camera opens and we're online, it didn't feel like we just met 3 minutes ago. And so for me, I really lean into that. Now, does that always mean that there's money exchange? No. But I also find value in just that excitement that you get with those connections, because those are the people that, even if they're never your client, because it might not make sense, not everybody needs what we're doing, but if they're not a client, they still make some of the best cheerleaders, because they're the people that are going to talk you up when you're not in the room because you're excited about them, and vice versa. They're the people that I'm going to talk about when they're not in the room. They're the people that when I meet somebody else that clicks, and it's like, this week, the last 2 weeks alone, I've met and worked with so many cybersecurity professionals. And I was like, there's something to that. It's the thing that, like, a lot of our clients either are in cybersecurity and or have PhDs. I was like, there's something to be said about that. So I was like, there's something there. There's a there. I just have to
we've never even talked. Like, I have a whole team that focuses on cybersecurity. We should, not today, but for another conversation.
Yeah, I was like, there's something in there. We got to get this group together.
Yeah, my colleague actually at one point was the head of technology for the state of Virginia for the Commonwealth, and still resides, in Virginia. But that's just one whole nother arm and extension to the brand. I lately have been coaching, collaborating, and working with companies that have either desired sales, marketing, brand ideation, a lane around chief revenue operations, which that's another conversation where I'm not seeing that many women of color be afforded that title, which a whole another conversation for another time. Or where, frankly, I'm a sucker for the bleeding heart when I see other small businesses that had a phenomenal USP, then life happened, something crazy, and didn't mean that their USP wasn't adorable. Something just completely shattered the vision, and that's the call actually I have coming up next. But just in terms of the day, I'm so grateful, but it's a gorgeous day. I'm not going to lie. It's so beautiful right now in South Florida. And, I did my miles, and I did my little workout, and I met a whole group of women that, were doing arms, which is my thing. I do my arms. So I taught them how to do the arm work, and I couldn't wait for this conversation. But after today's calls, I am heading to go meet a girlfriend who is a boss. Like I said, I think I mentioned Jeray Johnson, who is literally, I had never met an entomologist before, which is, yeah. So, a conversation with a Jeray is, girl, yeah, I've got these 2 different jars in my bathroom where I am harvesting or nesting these beetles or roaches from another country. That she's the only person that has the right. She's got the papers to allow her to take them on the plane, and she's studying, like, she's in research papers around malaria. She's saving lives. I love brilliant people. I love brilliant people.
That's amazing. It is brilliant. It's also
I lost you on the bugs.
Gross all the same. Like, not me over here killing bugs and stuff on a regular basis. Putting them in a jar and harvesting them.
She's literally larva. She's like, I remember when we were on larva watch and we were waiting for them to hatch. And again, it's something outside of my sphere of knowledge, but I am fascinated that she's there and loves it.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story. And if only everyone was allowed the opportunity to know and understand their story enough to unpack it, demystify it, and share it with an audience. If the world was so kind, it'd be great.
That is true. I think it's cool. So, we've been doing this series since I think February. And, as you know, when you fill out the form, there's a list of topics. And I pulled them from either experiences that I've had that went well or not so well. Or I looked at client experiences and things or questions that I've gotten from clients or leads or connections over the years. And so I just kind of put an exhaustive list together. But this one and stress management, I've noticed, are the two most popular topics so far. And, my husband asked, he was like, well, is that smart? What if you end up with 3 people in a row that pick the same topic? I said, it's fine, because so far, and it's been correct, every single person, regardless of the topic they pick, even if they pick a similar topic, the thought process, the methodology, if there is one, and the way that we look at it, our view of the topic is different every single time. And so I love the fact that, yes, the topic is time management, but what we're really focused on is the energy around it and how much that ties into it. Because will I sit here and lie and say that everything that I do in my 36, 24-hour day is something that lights me up? Absolutely. When I was folding laundry yesterday, I was sick of it. I mean, sick of it. And, oh, look at that little thumbs up. Put my hands back in my lap. But I'm like, I am not, hey, Jill, I am absolutely not, lit up by everything that I do. But I try my best to figure out the adulting things that I have to take care of, but make that, like, if I can, 20 to 30% of my 36-hour day. And then that way the rest of the day is filled with things that I enjoy, that light me up. I'm surrounded by people that I like seeing, that I look forward to seeing, even like I'm going on vacation soon. And normally I block off my calendar a day or two before vacation. This year, I'm literally on calls the day before I leave, which I never do. But even with one of them, she was just like, well, if you need to reschedule, I was like, no. I genuinely enjoy talking to you. And because of that, even though, yes, it's going to add to my day, it means that I need to be packed a few days before vacation versus the night before, which puts a little bit more on my plate and things like that. In that sense, it was still fine, because that particular client, we get so many ideas out of our calls that I walk away
into your
yes, we literally feed each other.
Yes.
So it's like, no, we're not rescheduling this call. We are absolutely having this call. Walk away feeling great anyway.
It's brain food.
Yeah. And so I think that when it comes to the time management, the management really, to me, is the management of the energy that you put, the things you're putting your energy into, which take your time. So for me, yes, I have, our kids and stuff like that. So if it's something related to them, like the 13-year-old, she's like, oh, do you like taking me to swim practice? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, I mean, would you rather be doing something else? And so I was like, I mean, technically, sure. But I also want you to do well. And I understand that to do well, you have to be at practice. And I like actually watching practice, because then it tells me what you may need help with or whatever. I can tell when you're focused. I can tell when you're not focused. So are you asking me, honestly, if I was going to be like on a beach, would I rather be there? Yes. But at the same time, we've chosen, this is something you're passionate about.
Yeah, and you know what's beautiful?
There's a balance to that. So I can be honest.
You're modeling that for this is the beautiful thing. It's a pipeline of purpose, right? We have future warriors, future leadership goddesses that are watching this, hopefully, and will share this with others, that know you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to give thanks. You've got to have gratitude. You've got to put in the hard work. It doesn't come overnight. It's not a magic button or pill. But I always reinforce, and we started out at the top of the discussion, choose your circle, your inner circle wisely.
Absolutely.
You don't get time back. And always have a battery of people that you can call on, that aren't always going to tell you, girl, you're right. No, perhaps you're not. You need to have that yin and yang. You need to have the ones that are going to pull you up and give you the tissue and let you have a bad day and then dust you off and say, okay, guess what? You got about 20 more minutes.
Yep.
And now we got to do something else.
You got about 6 tears left to drop.
I'm gonna make it going. I like you.
Yeah.
But I think that as we're in positions of leadership, and I say that because anytime you're given an opportunity to share wisdom and it's a mutual cup fill, that we have a responsibility to double down and triple down on this pipeline. And there are young people that don't even know what a typewriter is, and that live life by emojis, that will need to understand there's certain things there aren't shortcuts. But if there's one thing, if you're going to be a great leader, you follow what great leaders do. Take that wisdom, make it your own. Don't lose sight of yourself. Learn to always be gracious and grateful. And when you find it, Tanisha, you better hold on to her. I ain't letting you go. You ain't going nowhere. I got you.
Listen to my CFO when she sees this. If you see me with some Miami receipts on my stuff,
hey, come on. Yeah, it's a meeting.
Business.
Because we know the research around, and this goes to the VIP leadership workshop that is in the works for a little north of me. The research that shows that grounding in the sand, that feeling that sun on your back and smelling and feeling the water mist from the ocean, it can't get better. Well, it probably could if you won Lotto, but I'm just saying. But I am desiring, I am reaching, I am grabbing that space and protecting it. And I encourage all bosses, whether you're a boss today or a boss in training, if it's in your blood, it's in your blood, right? To seek more, greater, better, right? Be better, do better, just be better, because we've got a world of yuckies and we need to have more great stuff to overpower the yucks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have some sand in my future. So
come on, girl. I'll give you a rubber ducky.
New branding shoot coming up.
Come on, the sand misses you. Come on.
Mm-hmm. I could use some. But now I
do some leadership planning on the beach with me.
New idea.
Come on.
New retreat loading, since that's a very popular thing these days. Beach retreat loading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just us, some sand, a Wi-Fi signal, and some ideas.
I can see it in your face already. You just
the wheels are turning. They get rusty sometimes, but the wheels are turning.
The oil may be suntan oil, yeah, but it's still oil.
But no, I genuinely appreciate you being here today. I was so excited when you said absolutely, because I marvel about how this series is going, because it literally was me testing myself to be more visible. And that's been the whole goal this year. And then it was like, well, worst case scenario, if I do one a month, I'm going to call it a win. And this week is definitely this week we have 3 of these. And I was like, okay, well, that definitely was not once a month. But again, balancing that time, you know, because I did start another time consuming project partnership with, you know, doing the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. And so I'm in that. So then it was now the time being honest with my time to say, so listen, I've committed to this program and I'm going to be here. However, there are going to be some times that I need some coverage to still do the things that, you know, I set out to do. This being one of them, of course, making sure that I'm still making time for my clients and making time for my team and being there when they need me. But I'm now kind of finding my groove of balancing that commitment with the other things. And so while I might take a week or so off from the lives, I love the fact that, you know, we literally have people booked into June for these conversations. And so to take what was just a random idea of forcing myself to get on camera and have conversations and be visible, and now it's just evolving into, I'm seeing some of my people forming more relationships with those that I invite on. I'm seeing some projects coming out of this for other people and people promoting the things that they're doing in their business. And so, and then it just happens to still do the visibility thing, which was my initial goal. I really, really appreciate everybody just taking that.
I'm going to tell you,
to have a conversation.
We're two creatures, two peas in a pod on that. So I have to give a shout out to Bing Chen, the CEO of To Be Live, who has allowed me a forum and a space to help solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, authors, large organizations really create a multidimensional share of brand that I think is missing in a lot of platforms. That's why I gravitated to this, because again, any chance we are given a place, a safe place to banter, to let people know I'm more than the picture you saw over here, or where I was quoted over there. We are walking vessels of hope and purpose, and we need to really continue to exponentially edify where we're going, why we're going there, make sure we're with the right partners in the journey. Because there's a lot to do, and you're one of my warriors in my head, and I'm not letting you go. Tanisha, you don't tell your husband. You're going to Miami for strategy sessions as soon as you
Well, I already told my sister, listen, she's in Miami, so I'm gonna figure out a way to make this work in person. Yes. I know I'm gonna have some clients that are 10 minutes away, but and meanwhile, I can't fight you to come out of town down the street. No, because that's not Miami. So
there will be opportunities to figure out how to make it work for everybody. I just know that this is a very lovely forum that's so needed.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing the transparency and the authenticity, because we need more of this. So to all those out there that are having a rough day, just know there's a better tomorrow. And the journey that you're currently engaged in, if you're having you're meandering off path, or things are happening to you, nothing happens by accident. It's part of a divine plan, and you're going to get where you're going. Just keep hope alive. So my final parting words are what I say when my eyes open every day. The first thing it's on my calendar, even, that my hope and God's faith and love and belief in me equals victory and success. So use that as your next math equation. Always have the gratitude and at least 10 things in the last 24 hours that I'm grateful for. It's like oatmeal and coffee.
The coffee part, not the oatmeal, but
you don't get fiber in that, but me still have my coffee.
It's like cup number 2, very thankful.
Oh, this is cup number 2. Let's be very clear.
Yeah. So, I still have water, but it's
okay. I know if my mom were listening, she would yell, you hydrate. I should be I don't hydrate enough, and I know ice cubes in the refreshment don't count. It's after the coffee. You need to. That's my. I'm not.
I can make a use case for the ice cubes counting if there's enough of them. So, well, thank you. Is there any place that you want people to find information about you, follow you?
Yeah. So my Q Factor Consulting is the name of my organization, and typically my projects are in there. That my To Be Live project has not been updated, but the number 2, the letter B, the letter E, Live, LIVE, is where I'm really pouring into my brand.
Okay.
And stay tuned. I think there are going to be some amazing projects on the horizon that are going to allow me to make a bigger splash and impact to our future.
And stay tuned because you guys might catch one of these lives where we're both sitting on the beach.
And with something with an umbrella in it.
So, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're catching us on the replay, feel free to ask any questions and we will make sure to answer them for you. And of course, you'll see some of these clips from today's live all over anywhere that you're following us now, including TikTok. If you're not subscribing to the SVS YouTube channel, please subscribe. It is Work with SVS. And so happy Tuesday. I almost said Thursday again. Happy Tuesday. I'm just rushing my week away. And thank you, Q, for being here. I appreciate you.
Namaste. No namasko.
Well, you enjoy your lunch with your entomologist.
Thank you.
And I will talk to you soon.
Shall we see you on the beach?